Staff Sergeant Natalie Carter stood at the edge of enemy-controlled territory in the dense Colombian jungle, watching through binoculars as four armed cartel soldiers dragged her best friend, Sergeant Emma Hayes, bleeding from a head wound, hands zip-tied behind her back, into a fortified compound 300 meters away. The counter-narcotics mission had gone catastrophically wrong. Their patrol had been ambushed, their team scattered, and Emma had been left behind when the withdrawal order came. Command said wait for orders. Intelligence said they'd send a rescue team in 48 hours. Emma didn't have 48 hours. The cartel had a reputation for executing captured soldiers within 24 hours and posting the videos online. So Natalie made a decision that would either save her best friend's life or end both of theirs. She checked her M4 carbine, loaded 6 extra magazines, pulled on her plate carrier despite the suffocating jungle heat, and did something every tactical manual said was suicide. She went in alone. Broad daylight, no support, no backup, just her rifle, and 12 years of friendship that meant more than following orders. Drop a comment, hit subscribe, because what happened in the next 6 hours would become a classified legend about what one soldier will do when the person who matters most is in enemy hands. The Colombian jungle was a living nightmare designed to kill you in 1,000 different ways. The humidity was so thick you could almost drink the air, turning every breath into labor and every movement into a battle against exhaustion. The temperature hovered around 95 degrees, even in the shade of the triple canopy rainforest, with sunlight filtering through in scattered beams that illuminated clouds of insects. Sweat soaked through Natalie's uniform within minutes, stinging her eyes, making her grip slippery. Mosquitoes swarmed in clouds, carrying diseases that could lay you flat. The jungle floor was a tangle of roots, vines, and rotting vegetation that grabbed at boots and concealed deadly snakes. Above, howler monkeys screamed territorial warnings, birds called in exotic voices, and the constant buzz of insects created a wall of sound that could mask approaching threats or cover your movement depending on how you used it. Staff Sergeant Natalie Carter had been awake for 30 hours straight, and the adrenaline that had carried her through the ambush and escape was wearing thin. But she couldn't stop. Not while Emma was alive in that compound. Natalie was 31 years old, career Army, 12 years in the infantry before women were officially allowed in combat roles. She'd been one of the pioneers who'd kicked down that door through competence and refusal to quit. Average height, athletic build from carrying 70 pounds of gear on patrol daily. Dark blonde hair pulled back in a tight bun under her helmet, darkened with sweat. Blue-gray eyes that tracked movement with precision, born from always assuming someone was trying to kill you. Her M4 carbine felt like an extension of her arms after 12 years. She'd zeroed this specific rifle hundreds of times, knew exactly how it shot at every range, trusted it completely. 6 magazines in her chest rig plus 1 in the weapon, 210 rounds total. Her sidearm, a Beretta M9, carried 2 spare magazines, 3 fragmentation grenades, 1 smoke grenade, 2 flashbangs, combat knife, first aid kit, water, no radio. She'd left that behind deliberately. If command couldn't order her to stand down, they couldn't stop her. The compound where they were holding Emma was typical narco-trafficking architecture. High concrete walls painted in mottled greens to blend with jungle, reinforced metal gate, guard towers at 2 corners, flat roof with sandbag positions. The cartel had built it as regional headquarters, a fortress to defend against rivals or government forces. She'd been watching for an hour from concealed position 500 meters away, counting personnel, tracking patterns, building a mental map while fighting off mosquitoes. 14 cartel soldiers visible, 4 in guard towers, 2 at main gate, 8 moving through the compound, all armed with AK-47s or AR-15, professional weapons, professionally maintained. These weren't street-level thugs, but trained sicarios, cartel enforcers with military experience, possibly former Colombian special forces who'd switched sides for better pay. They moved with tactical discipline, maintained weapons discipline, covered sectors properly. The tactical situation was objectively terrible. 1 soldier against 14 trained fighters in daylight in their territory with no support. Every manual said this was suicide. Standard procedure said, regroup with your team, coordinate with command, plan proper rescue with adequate force, use intelligence, use air support, use a team. But Emma didn't have time for procedure. Natalie had met Emma Hayes 8 years ago during their first deployment to Afghanistan. Emma was from Texas, loud and cheerful, where Natalie was quiet and reserved. They'd been unlikely friends. Emma, the extrovert who befriended everyone, Natalie, the introvert who preferred solitude. But they'd bonded over shared experiences, over midnight guard duties where they'd talk about families and dreams, over long patrols where the only entertainment was each other's company, over the particular friendship that forms when you trust someone completely to keep you alive. Emma had pulled Natalie from a burning vehicle after an IED hit 3 years ago, dragged her out with shrapnel in her own legs, carried her 50 meters to cover under fire, refused to leave even when ammunition cooked off in the flames. Natalie had carried Emma 2 kilometers to medevac after Emma took AK rounds during a Taliban ambush. Fireman's carry, despite exhaustion, refused offers from others because she wouldn't trust Emma's life to anyone else. They'd spent countless hours talking about post-military plans. Emma wanted to teach underprivileged kids. Natalie wanted to open a coffee shop. Normal dreams that felt impossible where people tried to kill you. Now Emma was in that compound, probably being interrogated, possibly tortured, definitely running out of time. Natalie made her final decision. She was going in. The approach would be most dangerous. 500 meters of jungle between her position and compound. That part offered cover. But the cartel had cleared a 50-meter perimeter, creating a kill zone where anyone approaching would be completely exposed to fire from guard towers and walls. Those 50 meters would be absolutely lethal in daylight, unless she created a different problem for them to focus on. Natalie studied the compound's northern approach. The cleared perimeter was uniform on 3 sides, but on the north, a stream cut through, probably left for water access. The stream had high banks, heavy vegetation, ran to within 30 meters of the north wall before turning east. If she used that approach, the banks would provide concealment from guard towers. But she needed a distraction, something to pull guards' attention away, make them focus on a different threat. 200 meters west of the compound, jungle rose into a small hill, good elevation, good sight lines to the compound's western wall and main gate. If she set something up there first, created a threat from that direction, guards would orient defenses toward perceived attack. Basic infantry tactics: fix enemy attention in one direction, attack from another. Natalie moved west through jungle, using every bit of cover, staying low where undergrowth was thick, moving with practiced stealth. The jungle was both enemy and ally. It concealed her, but made silent movement nearly impossible. Every step required calculation: where to place feet to avoid breaking branches, how to move through vines without shaking them, when to freeze because something had noticed her and might give her away. 20 minutes brought her to the hill. She found position with good cover from fallen tree, clear sight lines to compound, good concealment from jungle behind. She pulled out smoke and fragmentation grenades, positioned them carefully, then rigged a simple timing device using 550 cord, a stick, and grenade pins. Crude but effective. When cord burned through, it would pull pins, grenades would detonate, guards would think someone was attacking from west. She estimated 10 minutes once diversion went off. 10 minutes to cover distance to North Stream, use distraction to cross kill zone, breach north wall, find Emma, get out before cartel realized what actually happened. Natalie lit the fuse. Paracord she'd unraveled and coated with gun oil, slow burning and reliable, then moved fast back into jungle, circling east then north toward stream approach. 8 minutes now. 7. 6. She reached the stream with 4 minutes to spare, dropped into water, waist-deep current stronger than expected, and began moving downstream toward compound. Stream banks rose 3 feet on each side, providing perfect concealment from anyone not directly overhead. Water was brown with sediment, probably contaminated, but it kept her cool and masked her movement. 3 minutes. 2. Natalie reached where stream came closest to compound, 30 meters of open ground between stream bank and north wall. She could see guard towers, see guards scanning sectors with professional discipline. Any movement in open ground and she'd be spotted instantly. 1 minute, she took position behind Streambank, M4, up and ready, watching compound, waiting. The grenades went off on schedule, first smoke, billowing white clouds visible from compound, then 5 seconds later, fragmentation grenade, sharp crack rolling across jungle. Reaction was immediate. Guards in towers shouted, orienting weapons toward west. Gate guards rushed toward western wall. Inside, she heard shouting, boots running, orders in Spanish. Natalie moved. She burst from Streambank and sprinted across open ground, no longer concerned with stealth, only speed. 30 meters had never felt longer. Every step expected gunfire, expected the shout that meant she'd been spotted. 20 meters, 15, 10. She hit north wall hard, pressing against concrete, breathing hard. No shouts, no gunfire. The diversion had worked. The north wall had a drainage culvert at base, designed to channel water during rainy season. Narrow, maybe 2 feet high, but enough. Natalie dropped prone and crawled through, pushing her M4 ahead, ignoring water and muck that soaked her uniform. She emerged inside compound in narrow space between wall and storage building. Bags of probable cocaine stacked to ceiling, covered with tarps. The compound was larger than it looked from outside. Central courtyard, main building on south side, 2 stories with flat roof and sandbag positions. Smaller buildings around perimeter, storage, barracks, possibly workshop. The 2 gate guards were 50 meters away, facing west toward diversion, rifles up. Natalie moved along wall, using storage building for concealment, until she reached corner where she could see main building entrance. 3 cartel soldiers stood there, alert and armed, responding to diversion but maintaining security. 16 tangos total, 14 she'd counted plus 2 she hadn't seen, all oriented toward west, and Emma somewhere in that main building. Natalie had options. Stealth meant infiltrating quietly, locating Emma, extracting without engaging. Smart, tactically, but time-consuming. But stealth took time. Any second, someone would investigate western diversion, find nothing but smoke and crater, realize it was a feint. Then, entire compound would go high alert, and her window would slam shut. She needed to move fast and violently, hit so hard and fast they couldn't organize response before she'd accomplished her objective. Natalie pulled a fragmentation grenade, calculated throw distance to main building entrance, estimated blast radius. 3 guards clustered together, tactically poor, but worked to her advantage. 1 grenade would take all 3. She pulled pin, held spoon for 2 count to reduce time between throw and detonation, then threw hard and accurate. The grenade bounced once, rolled to guards' feet. One saw it, opened mouth to shout. Explosion shattered quiet, sending all 3 flying backward, sharp crack echoing off walls. Natalie moved immediately, sprinting from cover toward main building, using shock and confusion to cover approach, knowing every second counted now that she'd announced her presence. The 2 gate guards were turning, bringing weapons around, trying to process what happened behind them. Natalie engaged while moving, controlled pairs from M4. Both guards dropped, 5 down, 11 to go. She reached main building entrance, stepping over bodies killed by grenade, flowed through doorway with M4 up and ready. Interior was cooler, concrete walls keeping out worst of heat, but still stifling. Central hallway running building length, doors on both sides, stairs at far end. Movement right, guard rushing from room, AK-47 coming up. Natalie fired first, 3-round center mass. He dropped hard, 6 down, 10 to go. "Emma!" Natalie shouted, moving down hallway, checking corners. "Emma Hayes! It's Natalie! Where are you?" No response. Either Emma couldn't hear, couldn't respond, or Natalie pushed that thought away. Emma was alive. Had to be. More movement. From stairs. 2 guards rushing down, weapons up. Stairwell was fatal funnel, narrow space where they had come single file. Natalie waited, M4 aimed at stairbase, breathing controlled despite adrenaline. First guard appeared and she fired. Controlled burst, center mass. He fell forward, tumbling down remaining stairs. Second guard, more cautious, leaned around corner and fired blind. Full auto spray, rounds punching walls around Natalie but missing by feet. She returned fire, walking shots up wall toward where he was concealed, suppressing him. Then, she pulled her second fragmentation grenade, calculated arc, threw it up stairwell. Explosion in confined space was deafening. When smoke cleared, second guard was down, 8 to go. Natalie moved upstairs fast, knowing time was running out, that remaining guards would be organizing response, possibly calling reinforcements. Second floor laid out similarly, central hallway, rooms on both sides, door at end for roof access. "Emma!" she shouted again. "Emma, if you can hear me, make noise!" This time she heard it, thump, rhythmic like someone kicking wall, coming from room at hall's end, farthest from stairs. Natalie moved toward sound, checking corners, expecting ambush. Door to room was heavy wood reinforced with steel, locked from outside with heavy padlock. Through door she heard movement, muffled sounds like someone trying to shout through gag. "Emma, get away from the door!" Natalie stepped back and fired 3 rounds into padlock, rifle rounds shattering lock mechanism. She kicked door open and flowed in fast, M4 up and tracking. Room was small and stifling, no windows, concrete walls, single light bulb hanging from ceiling. Emma was there, zip-tied to metal chair in center, duct tape across mouth, face bruised and bloody from repeated blows, left eye swollen nearly shut, blood crusted on forehead, but her eyes tracked to Natalie with instant recognition and hope. But Emma wasn't alone. 2 cartel guards stood in corners, one behind Emma with pistol to her head, other to side with AK-47 pointed at doorway. For frozen moment, nobody moved. Mexican standoff, Natalie with M4 trained on rifle guard, that guard aiming at her, other guard with pistol pressed against Emma's temple. Rifle guard spoke in Spanish-accented English. "You put down gun, or we kill your friend." Slowly. "You watch." Natalie's mind processed options at lightning speed. If she shot rifle guard first, pistol guard would execute Emma before she could transition. If she shot pistol guard first, rifle guard would kill her. If she tried both simultaneously, impossible. This was no-win scenario, where tactical training broke down and you made impossible choices, unless you changed variables. "Okay," Natalie said, keeping a voice calm. M4 pointed at rifle guard, but not firing. "Let's talk. You want to trade, right? Me for her?" Pistol guard said something rapid in Spanish to companion. Rifle guard responded, looked back at Natalie. "You put gun down, put on ground, kick to me. Then maybe we let your friend live. Maybe." "Maybe isn't good enough," Natalie said. "I need guarantees." "You're not in position to negotiate. Neither are you. You kill her, I kill both of you before you escape. You let her go, I won't hunt you down. That's the deal." Guards exchanged looks, uncertainty creeping in. They'd expected tactical assault team, coordinated operation with overwhelming force. Not one soldier infiltrating alone, now negotiating like she held cards, which gave Natalie the opening she needed. She'd been watching pistol guard's trigger finger, watching for telltale tension, meaning he was about to fire, watching his eyes, watching for shift in focus, meaning his attention was splitting. When that split second came, when his eyes shifted to companion, when pistol pressure on Emma's temple reduced by fraction, when trigger finger relaxed slightly. Natalie moved. She twisted left, dropping below rifle guard's line of fire, while bringing M4 around in smooth arc toward pistol guard. Movement was so fast, so unexpected, so perfectly executed from thousands of training hours. It looked like magic. Her first shot took pistol guard in head. No time for center mass, no margin for error, precise round that ended threat to Emma instantly. Rifle guard fired, but Natalie was already moving, rounds missing by inches. She completed motion, coming up into shooting stance, M4 tracking back to rifle guard trying to correct aim. She fired twice. Center mass, rifle guard dropped. 10 down, 6 to go. Entire engagement lasted maybe 3 seconds. Emma stared at Natalie with wide eyes. Dead guard who'd held pistol to her head now collapsed behind her. Natalie moved to Emma fast, pulling knife and cutting zip ties, binding her to chair. Emma's wrists were raw and bleeding where plastic had cut in. She pulled duct tape from Emma's mouth as gently as possible. "Oh my God," Emma said, voice hoarse. "Oh my God, Natalie, you came." "You actually came." They said nobody would come. They said Americans would leave me. I've got you. Natalie helped Emma to feet, noting how Emma favored left leg, probably injured during ambush or captivity. Can you walk? I think so. They mostly hit face, legs just bruised, nothing broken. Emma tested weight, wobbled, but stayed upright. Natalie, there are at least 16. There were 16. There are 6 now. Can you handle rifle? Emma looked at AK-47 on floor next to dead guard, nodded with determination, cutting through pain. Yeah, I can shoot. Good. Take it. We're leaving. Natalie handed Emma spare grenade. You remember urban combat training? Every day since basics. Then you remember room clearing, bounding overwatch, covering fire. Are we fighting our way out? We're fighting our way out. They moved to doorway, Natalie leading with M4, up, Emma right behind with captured AK, both falling into rhythm from years training together. They'd done this hundreds of times, moved as two-person team, covered each other's sectors, communicated through hand signals and spatial awareness from knowing how your battle buddy moved. Hallway was clear, but Natalie heard voices downstairs, remaining 6 guards regrouping, organizing response, probably fortifying ground floor to trap them upstairs. They're going to bottle us up, Emma said, thinking tactically despite injuries. We need alternative exit. Roof access. We go up instead of down. They moved to roof access door at hall's end. Metal door with simple lock. Natalie shot lock off, kicked door open, revealing narrow staircase leading up. Roof was flat concrete with sandbag positions around perimeter. Cartel had clearly planned to use it defensively. 2 guard towers at opposite corners, both unmanned now. But more importantly, roof gave them elevation, sight lines into jungle beyond walls, options. What's the plan? Emma asked, moving to sandbag position, checking AK to ensure it was ready. We hold here until they come. When they rush roof, we hit them hard. Then we break for north wall, through drainage culvert into jungle. That's a terrible plan. You have better one? Emma smiled despite blood and bruises. Nope. Terrible plan it is. They didn't wait long. Sound of boots on stairs, voices in Spanish, coordinating assault. Remaining 6 guards coming up together, smart enough not to come one at a time. Natalie pulled her last fragmentation grenade, pulled pin, held spoon. When this goes off, we move immediately. You go left, I'll go right. We clear roof, then run for north wall. Don't stop, don't engage unless you have to. Just run. Emma nodded. On your mark. Natalie threw grenade down staircase, counted 1, 2, and explosions shook building, filling stairwell with smoke and shrapnel and screams. Go! 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 They moved as one, flowing through roof access into smoke and chaos, bodies on stairs, at least 3 guards down from grenade, but 3 more still in fight, staggered by blast but bringing weapons up. Natalie engaged first while moving, 3-round burst. Emma took second with AK, unfamiliar weapon kicking, but staying on target through determination. 3rd guard, furthest downstairs, fired wildly, panic shooting, his rounds going wide as both returned fire. 13 down, 3 to go. They hit ground floor moving fast, Emma limping but keeping pace through willpower. 3 remaining guards were somewhere, either inside building or outside, reorganizing. Natalie chose speed over caution. They burst out into courtyard, into oppressive heat and bright sunlight, running for north wall visible 50 meters away. Gunfire erupted from right. 3 remaining guards had taken position behind storage building, created hasty ambush. Rounds cracked past Natalie's head, hit ground near feet. Emma returned fire while moving, AK on full auto, suppressing guards enough to make them take cover. Natalie threw smoke grenade, last one, creating white cloud that obscured guards' sight. They made it to north wall, to drainage culvert. Emma went first, dropping to crawl through despite injuries. Natalie followed, firing M4 back toward storage building, controlled bursts, covering escape. Through culvert, into muck and water, emerging on far side into jungle. Behind them, compound was chaos, smoke, gunfire, shouting. But Natalie and Emma were out, were in jungle, were running. They covered 300 meters before Emma's leg finally gave out, adrenaline wearing off and injury making itself known. She collapsed against tree, breathing hard, face pale with pain. I need a minute, Emma gasped. Take two, we're clear. Natalie pulled out backup radio, one she'd stashed before going in, one command didn't know she had. Jaguar 6, this is Bravo 2-4. I have precious cargo. Requesting immediate extract at Rally Point Echo. Response was immediate and furious. Bravo 2-4, where the hell have you been? We've been trying to raise you for 7 hours. What do you mean you have precious cargo? I have Sergeant Hayes. She's alive, mobile, and we need extract now. Long pause, then different voice, older, more authoritative, battalion commander. Bravo 2-4, this is Jaguar 6 actual. Confirm you have Sergeant Hayes. Confirmed. Multiple contusions, possible concussion, leg injury, but ambulatory and stable. Another pause. Natalie could imagine chaos in Tactical Operations Center, trying to figure how one soldier infiltrated cartel compound and extracted hostage alive. Bravo 2-4, how did you retrieve Sergeant Hayes? Natalie looked at Emma, who was listening with slight smile despite injuries. I went and got her, sir. She's my friend. Stand by for extract. ETA 30 minutes. And Sergeant Carter, we are going to have a very long conversation when you get back. Yes, sir. Looking forward to it. Helicopter arrived 28 minutes later. UH-60. Black Hawk threading through jungle canopy, door gunners scanning for threats, full squad of infantry providing security. Extraction was fast and professional. Emma loaded first with medic immediately starting treatment, Natalie climbing aboard last, taking final look at jungle that almost killed them both. They'd done it. Against all tactical sense, against orders, against everything she'd been taught about proper planning, she'd infiltrated cartel compound alone in daylight and brought Emma home alive. It was the stupidest thing she'd ever done, and she'd do it again in heartbeat. The debrief lasted 8 hours. Natalie sat across from company commander, battalion commander, 2 intelligence officers, and DEA liaison who wanted every detail about cartel compound. She walked them through it, step by step. Company commander was beyond furious. Sergeant Carter, do you have any idea how reckless this was? You could have been killed. You could have gotten Hayes killed. You violated direct orders to remain in position and await rescue team. Yes, sir. You engaged 13 cartel soldiers alone, in their territory, in defended compound. Yes, sir. Company commander leaned back, studying her. And you'd do it again, wouldn't you? Natalie met his eyes directly. Sir, Sergeant Hayes is my friend, best friend for 8 years, 3 deployments together. She's saved my life. I've saved hers. When she was captured, intelligence said cartel would execute her within 24 hours. Command said rescue team in 48 hours. Math didn't work. So I went and got her. Math didn't work, battalion commander repeated, respect creeping into voice. Sergeant Carter, what you did was tactically unsound, violated multiple regulations, showed complete disregard for chain of command. Yes, sir. It was also one of most impressive displays of individual combat capability I've seen in 26 years. He opened folder. 13 enemy combatants killed. 0 friendly casualties beyond Hayes's pre-existing injuries. Hostage recovered alive. Complete tactical surprise achieved despite operating in daylight in enemy territory. He closed folder. How did you do it? Natalie thought about it. Training, sir. And being really, really motivated not to fail. Finally, company commander spoke. Sergeant Carter, you're being recommended for Silver Star. You're also being given Article 15 for disobeying orders. You'll be both decorated and disciplined. Does that make sense? Natalie smiled slightly. Perfect sense, sir. Worth it. Emma was in field hospital when Natalie got free. Stitches in scalp, intravenous fluids, but alert and smiling when Natalie walked in. Hey, crazy person, Emma said. Heard you're getting medal in Article 15. That's the rumor. Also heard you killed 13 guys by yourself. They were standing between me and you. That was their mistake. Emma's smile faded. Natalie, you could have died. What you did was what you would have done for me. Yeah, it is. Emma took Natalie's hand. Thank you doesn't seem like enough. You saved my life. You saved mine in Helmand. I saved yours here. That's how this works. Is it? It is for us. 3 months later, at ceremony at Maine Base, Natalie received her Silver Star. Citation read, "For gallantry in action against armed enemy during counter-narcotics operations." Staff Sergeant Carter displayed extraordinary heroism when she single-handedly infiltrated fortified enemy compound, engaged and defeated 13 enemy combatants, and successfully extracted captured American soldier. Her actions were in keeping with highest traditions of military service and reflect great credit upon herself, her unit, and the United States Army. Emma was there, fully recovered, back on duty. When medal was pinned to Natalie's uniform, Emma was first to salute. "You earned that," Emma said afterward. "We both earned it. We've been earning it for 8 years. So what do we do now?" "We keep going. Finish this deployment, watch each other's backs, stay alive long enough to open that coffee shop we keep talking about." "Deal. But one condition." "What's that?" "If I ever get captured again, wait for official rescue team. My heart can't take you going full action hero twice." Natalie smiled. "No promises." Years later, after they'd both left Army and opened that coffee shop, people would ask about Silver Star hanging on wall. Natalie would give official story. Rescue operation, enemy engaged, hostage recovered. But Emma knew real story. Story of friend who'd looked at impossible odds, at compound full of armed cartel soldiers, at jungle that wanted to kill you, at every manual that said what she was planning was suicide, and decided none of that mattered compared to bringing her best friend home alive. That was story that mattered, not tactics or combat or medals. Just simple truth that when it mattered most, when Emma's life was online and nobody else was coming fast enough, Natalie had walked into hell to bring her home. That's what friends did, what soldiers did, what warriors did when someone they loved was in danger, and choice was between following orders and doing what was right. Natalie had chosen right, and Emma was alive because of it. Have you ever had a friend you'd risk everything for? What would you do if someone you cared about was in danger and nobody else was coming to help? Do you think following orders or saving a friend is more important? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We read everyone. If this story reminded you that true friendship means showing up when it matters most, that some bonds are worth any risk, and that the greatest acts of heroism often come from the simplest motivation of protecting the people we love, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories about warriors who prove that loyalty is stronger than fear, friendship is stronger than orders, and love is stronger than any tactical disadvantage. Thanks for watching. Every woman has a story worth telling. Join us to hear them all.